empty.
Yes.
Taryn, where are your fish? Something's
Can I
wrong.
show you if we have a minute?
Yeah, go. Show us while we're all waiting. Hi, everyone. You can say hi down in the chat box if you want.
Hi,
Well,
guys.
Taryn takes us on a virtual tour of his house.
Oh my God.
Oh, they're in the bath.
Is that your bathtub?
Yep.
Explain.
Well, my old fish tank is currently being sold, or it's going to be sold soon. And the whole plan was to get this tank, which is 5 feet long, 2 feet wide, 2 feet tall. So it's a bit bigger and it's a lot better quality. And overall, it's just a beastly aquarium. So
Beastly.
yes. So
How exciting.
yeah, it's been good. So after our meeting today is going to be like a going to buy supplies trip for the tank.
That's so exciting. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So guys, you might see Nicola and Lucy here. Sorry, Taryn. They're going to say hello properly in a minute, but keep chatting.
Yeah, so the bathtub was the best solution I could think of to keep the fish somewhere safe temporarily.
How does your family feel about this situation?
Well, I didn't really tell them. I just, yeah, well, I thought, well, the fish are the most important thing at the moment, so we'll probably just get them all in there, and then when they find them, they find them.
So that, like, don't ask permission, just ask for, what's the thing? Don't ask for forgiveness, that's it.
Yes, that was the plan, so.
I love it.
Well done.
They thought I was doing something with the fish tank, but they didn't know exactly what I was doing.
I'm just checking, Taryn, that is not the family bathroom, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. You could go for a snorkel at least.
Yeah, that should be fun.
Just put your goggles on, stick your head in, and it'll be like we're all out snorkeling again.
Yeah, but I think, yeah, my dad was the one that was like really shocked when he saw it. He's like, wait a minute, what? But
oh, good job. We can't wait to see when the new tank's all filled up. I'm excited.
Yeah.
It's going to be good. We got a few other people in today. Good turnout today. This is exciting. As I said, say hello in the chat box, everyone, if you get a chance. We can always, Tess, sorry, said hello. Hi, Tess. There we go. Now you might see Nicola and Lucy in the corner of your screen here. These two are our guest presenters today, which is very exciting. They're going to join us till about 11 o'clock. Now, T, do you want to give everyone a rundown of what today's going to look like?
Yeah, so as Pete said, we've got Lucy and Nicola. They are our Ocean Youth alumni. So they've done Ocean Youth. Nicola was last year and Lucy, I think 2 years ago, was it?
Like 2016 or something.
Oh,
like a while ago.
A little while ago.
Good.
So we do have Ocean Youth alumni, and today's session is mostly about your project. So we're finally going to start diving in. We've been getting a lot of emails about projects. A lot of you are very keen. So today is more of a specific introduction to those. Lucy and Nicola are going to talk about their Ocean Youth experience and how that helped shape their projects and what they're doing now, kind of thing. And then after they leave us, after they've done explaining their stories, and you can ask them questions, Peter and I will be doing a little presentation on what your projects are, how we're going to go about them, what kind of support we're going to give you, and Pitch Fest, which the girls will know is so fun. Ours will, of course, look a little different this year, but still hopefully just as exciting. So we're starting with Lucy, I think. Yeah?
Yep.
Beautiful. So we're going to hand it over to Lucy. Again, if you do have any questions, chuck them down in the chat box and we'll get to them when she's done.
Amazing. Well, hi everyone. Once again, I'm Lucy. So nice to meet you. I'm on my phone right now because my internet does not want to work very well. So I probably can't see you or hear you or things like that. But if you put things in the chat, I'll try and get back to you. I did Ocean Youth in 2016 when I was in year 8. So it was like, honestly, only the year before I had really learned about climate change. Up until that point, the biggest environmental issue I thought we faced was the litter I saw on the ground. And since I wasn't really aware of that, I didn't see much, which I'm sure we all very well know that's not really the case. No, but then I came to Ocean Youth the next year and my whole world literally changed. I've always been that kind of person who just seems to care about everything, whether it's climate change, refugee crisis, homelessness, like all of it. And then as soon as like I came to Ocean Youth and I was equipped with amazing people like Peter, unfortunately we didn't have Tiana, but we had some amazing people there and other people who cared about the same things I did, and we were able to have so many amazing experiences. It really equipped me to feel confident enough to run projects on my own, and as
She'll be back. We'll give her a minute. Technology is really fun.
Happens every single session.
So just so you guys know, while Lucy's getting her stuff back together, Lucy was one of our youngest participants to ever do Ocean Youth. Hey, Luce, we lost you for a little bit. We lost you at, you felt equipped to do your projects after Ocean Youth.
Okay, wait, am I back now?
Yep, you're back. We can hear you perfectly.
Yay! No, but I felt equipped to do more projects because I'd been able to meet all these amazing people, and we had sessions where we were able to learn more than ever. Like, it's just some of the experiences that I had that year, like, I think will stay with me literally forever, and also gave me many bragging rights over many other eco-conscious friends for long as well, which was excellent for me. But in terms of that, we did a project on climate change, which is where you might be able to tell is my passion area, and where I spend a lot of my time. But we decided we wanted to build a workshop because only the year before that I learned about climate change for the first time. And then when I did learn about, like, at that point, when someone said greenhouse gases, I thought of a literal greenhouse where you grew literal green plants. And that was my entire understanding of the issue. And then I came to, like, and I learned about it the year before. And then when I came to Ocean Youth, I was like, this is the perfect opportunity to do something about this issue where I can be equipped with more people, equipped with a support system and a network, and actually launch this. So we built a website that I spent so long on, but wanting to be able to educate on this issue, because if people can't, if they don't understand, then how are they going to want to protect, and if they don't want to protect, they're not going to act. And in the end, we need everyone acting. So we did it on that, and it was really cool there. But I just cannot emphasize how amazing Ocean Youth was, and being able to have the resources and the people that were in my year of Ocean Youth was so cool. We had an Ocean Gals group chat for so long after it. We would just send all the videos we find on Facebook. But that was really nice. I would recommend keeping in contact with the people from your year, because these are people who care about the same things you do. And as you probably noticed from school and just life in general, it can be sometimes really hard to find your own, find your people. And this is such an amazing opportunity to do that. But since then, so as I said, I was quite young when I did Ocean Youth. I'm not sure what where you guys are at, and those kind of things, but I started off there, so I became environment captain at my school the next year. I worked with Zoos Victoria a bit with doing YATs. I continued on Ocean Youth Project. I worked with RSPCA. I did all One Girl, so went into social justice stuff, worked with World Vision. However, the thing that's probably one of the coolest is I was the only girl under the age of 18 and one of 2 representatives from Australia to become on Earth Echo International's Youth Advisory Council, which means that in year 10 I was flown off to the States to get training, and then contributed to their projects for 3 years. To deliver projects to people all across the world in environmental matters, which was amazing. And I also started my own business in year 9, which launched from Ocean Youth, where that's not really where I'm at now. This is really just a brief overview of all the crusade I've been on. But I had a business called Be Happy Bags for a number of years, where we sold ethically and sustainably produced tote bags, where 20% of the profits, where 20% of the profits went to not-for-profits. So that was that kind of thing. But I think the main thing there was it was before the time of, Woolworths and Coles making those bag bags, and especially in Victoria now having that in legislation. So it was a time where people didn't really think about it all that much. And then, thank you. And then, so when I started that, and then I realized that market was kind of being filled, and I was like, cool, bye market. And I decided I wanted to try and make better use of my time, but I'd had this idea in the back of my head for a little while, and I decided that I wanted to start this thing called the Student Voice Network. Is it okay? I think I've got some time, so I'll tell you the story. Let me set the scene. It is no, but once again, and this is like kind of my passion area and where I spend all my time on. It's why I've got this top. And of course, we all need to get to the point where you get top, but with the Student Voice Network, it began when I was in year 10. So as I said before, I've always been that kind of person who just seems to care about everything. And what that's kind of led me to do is go to workshop after workshop, conference after conference, just trying to learn. And I would go and I'd be so inspired by all these incredible people and incredible organizations. However, once I left that workshop or that conference, I often lost contact with the people, lost contact with the organization. And although I knew more than ever, I almost always felt like I was back to square one in some aspect. And if you've heard of World Vision before, this is where the next part of the story is going. I was at a World Vision conference here in Melbourne about 2 years ago, and how the day started was they wanted you to hold up your phone, green light, red light, to show your support or not for different things that they were talking about. So they read out all these issues that were seen as so controversial by our politicians and within the media. And what surprised me the most was that our whole auditorium of over 1,000 young people, so hopefully people who had chosen to be there, who wanted to do something and not just for the day off school, but our whole auditorium of over 1,000 young people, not only were we in consensus that we wanted to do something about these issues, but when we were asked, we knew what we wanted to do about it, which is just so different to how young people are so often seen as politically apathetic, that we don't care, that we don't want to do things, especially considering that for us, a lot of the decisions that are being made are going to impact us the most because it's our futures that are on the line, especially when it comes to issues like climate change and other environmental issues. And I just kept on thinking, and I had this kind of idea in the back of my brain for years, like, what if there was a platform that was free, so you didn't have to pay? What if it was virtual, so you could connect with people from all over the world as long as they had a Wi-Fi signal? What if you were able to, share resources, so you didn't have to reinvent the wheel every time, and take collective action? So instead of it just being you on your own crusade, you had a network of people who were going to back you up and support you in what you were doing on an ongoing kind of system. And it doesn't take a genius to come up with this idea. It really doesn't. But I honestly looked for this network. I really did. And then when I couldn't find it, I was just like, well, I'll just make it. So I was at this conference, and as you can probably tell by this point, I'm really super cool. And my party trick at this point seems to be getting the mic. So what they wanted you to do was tell your story to the person next to you to create a contact. So they obviously knew that, the power of meeting people and so forth was so valuable, and you could connect with not only as people, but as schools to develop resources and other things like that. But I got the mic and I told my story for about 10 seconds. And then I went on the rant. I just went on with you. And I said, I wanted to create a platform where we could come together as like-minded individuals, where we could share resources so we don't have to reinvent the wheel, and we can take collective action on the issues that are important to us, and not just social justice issues like what the conference was focusing on, but environmental issues as well. Because as we all know, if you really care about an issue, then why wait for someone else to solve it? At the time, I kind of only expected my friends next to me to pity sign up, like, oh, Lucy, what's she on about? Something else, of course. But even before the end of the day, I had teachers coming up to me with lists of names and emails saying, sorry, we've got to leave early, but these are all the people that want to get involved. And I went up at the front at the end where I said I'd be, and there was a crowd of people in front of us, and we were shouting for pens and loose leaf paper so we could get everyone's emails down. And I guess what that emphasized for me the most was simply that I wasn't alone. So 2 years on, we have over 250 members from across Australia welcoming our first international members. We have a team of over 50 young people developing and leading projects on issues that are important to them. And I can honestly say I could not be prouder of the team that we have now and what we've been able to accomplish, which is so nice. But in terms of so that's how we got started. But in terms of where we're at now, we operate in a bit of a different system. So what we do is we have 4 membership options. And the reason I really want to talk to you guys about this specifically is you've got an amazing support network, with Ocean Youth. However, I just want you to know that this is another option for you, not only when you're completing your project, but when you finish as well, and you're wanting to keep in contact with all these people from Ocean Youth, meet Ocean Youth from other years and all those kind of things, and meet other like-minded people from across the country and all over the world now, which is really cool. So we have the first member option, which is called Student Member. That's basically where you sign up to show your support. You get a monthly summary newsletter. You can jump in and out of projects as you please. It's really just signing up to show your support. The next member option, which is my personal favorite, is called Svn Team. That is basically where you sign up and you join weekly team meetings, whether that's on a Monday, which is 6:30 to 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. That's where we talk updates, we go through team projects, we discuss things. You can meet in project groups and do all of that. However, for some reason, if you can't make the Monday meeting time, maybe you have dinner at grandma's or you have Irish dancing every Monday. Those are two very real examples. Then you can come to our Thursday catch-up meeting, which goes from 6:30 to 7:15. So it's a lot shorter, but it still gives you an opportunity to connect and meet like-minded people, which is really just building a community here. It's also really wholesome in that way. We ask our team members to lead and develop projects on issues that are important to them. So we don't tell you, okay, you have to work on this issue, you have to work on this issue. We go, cool, what's important to you? What do you want to do? What kind of difference do you want to make? And then we build and we help and support them to build projects that are meaningful to them. For instance, you want to talk about climate change. Cool. What kind of action do you want to take? Do you want to focus on communication? Do you want more people to understand the science? Do you want more people to understand how to take action? Do you want to talk to the government? Do you want to talk to big business? Like what kind of difference do you want to make? And how can we utilize our schools network to make that a reality for you? For instance, just by using like the schools network, and this is now something that probably one of our most valuable assets in SVN, is a project or resource that maybe could have only once been utilized by one school or institution, can now be shared out through a network of schools and a network of institutions. So a project or resource that maybe could have only once impacted 1,000 people or so can impact tens of thousands of people with minimal extra effort, just because it's able to be shared at more places, which is a really cool asset to have. So we have that kind of structure in place, but not only that, so that gives us the main opportunity to connect with people, share resources, but we also, in terms of, we invite skill sharers once a month to come in. So for instance, we've had someone in the States run a workshop for us about how to do social media activism and what's going to make, what's going to help you there, what kind of strategies can you use, how do you create a brand online that supports your message and what you care about. The last Skillshare we had was a Commonwealth gold medalist who talked about goal setting and leadership. Like, it really does change, and we wanted to provide our members with as much support as possible to make the impact they want to make. But we also have something called like Friday Fun. So we just like hop on a call once a month and we're like, cool, let's play Cahoots, and have a virtual escape room. So it really does depend on that kind of thing. And our whole structure is like, I really like saying wholesome. You should see how many lovely, friendly, bad jokes I make, and puns. It is semi not acceptable at this point, but and we have gifts and slides, and it's like a real community. I know that I wouldn't have been able to get to the point I have, without their support. Like, I have like 8 calls today with like different people talking about SVN. So it's like amazing to be able to do that and just know that you're making a difference. Because I know for me, as I said before, climate change is my main issue, but I care about pretty much everything at this point. So it means that you get to be your own leader, which you guys signing up to Ocean Youth probably means that that's something that's interesting to you. So you get to be your own leader, you get to do what interests you, and you get to build on those ideas within a network that's going to support you and just build you up, which is amazing for that part. So that was the mini rant inside the larger rant. Then we've got the third option, which calls Svn Ambassador. That's where you basically become an SVN representative at your school. So that means that we can say like, oh, this team member has built this project which has made this resource, can you share it out at your school, that kind of thing. But it also comes down to, we ask you to get a teacher ally to support you in that, but we also have that as we have a monthly ambassador team meeting, which is basically where we do a lot of our resource sharing. For instance, we'll choose a new topic each month. Maybe it's waste, for instance, and we can say, oh, my school does this, what does your school do? Oh, cool, do you you don't do that? Do you want this resource? You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Here's a grant I found. Here's this, you know, type of compost bin, which takes meat and fruit and veg, and you don't have to worry about getting 16 worm farms. Like, you know, it really helps in that atmosphere as well. So that's why that one's really good. And we can probably get more people to sign up, even if you can't dedicate to a team meeting, you know, every week. We can probably get a lot more people to sign up as ambassadors, which means that your team, if you do our own team or not, your resource or your project is able to share to more people, because our ambassador council is more diversified in where people come from and representation, which is amazing. Then the last option, I promise this one's quick, is called Svn Holidays, and that's basically where you're a team member but just on the holidays. So if you're like, I am busy, school is my life, I don't have time, and then like your holidays, you're like, well, I have some time now, you can jump in just on the holidays. We are also really flexible in terms of that. And I think some of the best things about SVN is that we're students ourselves. Like, I'm 18. You know, it's not like I can be like judging, like, I know I've got exams in 2 months. Sorry, I reminded myself and I got sad. But like, you know, we've got all these different things going on. So if you've got, you know, assessments, if you've got other life stuff, if you've got mental health, we will in no way ever pressure you to do more than what you want to do. So it's just like, we've had people come like, I've got assessments this next couple of weeks, and like, we're like, cool, see you in a month, you know, or I've got something else going on, and that is so completely fine. So that's kind of how we rolled there. So that's how you can get involved, how we can offer support. And something I want to emphasize is that if you do want to become a team member and you are ready to get started in this way, if you've got assessments and things like that and you're like, I want to get started but at the end of the year, that's also fine. But if you are going to be running your Ocean Youth project, you are more than welcome to join SVN and then become a team member and make your Ocean Youth project your team project, which means you can get people to back you up from within our network with the resources we already have, and we'll provide you with all those mentors and things that we've all got separately, which is cool. So that's another option and support system for you while you're making your Ocean Youth project, which is cool. So that's all of that. I also wanted to talk about, yes, haha, I'm semi on time. I also I also wanted to talk about the climate conference my school is organising with the help of SVN. So for instance, I said before, actually maybe I didn't. I'm Enviro captain at my school. I go to Melbourne Girls College, if anyone knows that, in Victoria. But we're running a half-day virtual climate conference this Thursday. And then what we're going to be doing that, so maybe it might be a little bit late to get your school involved, but just from a logistics perspective, because we want you there. If you think you can make it, please come, is the overall theme of that. But we've got we've got 3 sessions. So the first one is led by AYCC presenters to understand the climate science, to understand and really get a rounded baseline knowledge of the issue. The second session we've got is a panel. So we've got, once again, AYCC, and I'm not sure if you guys know these people, but AYCC, the new Joneses, we've got a City of Yarra councillor, we've got someone from that class action that's going on right now where they're suing the government for doing fossil fuels, like, amazing. And we've also got someone from, I think, Renew Economy, which is like a media base, but they've got a business background, and fingers crossed we might have Lush. I don't know, that could just be a me thing that I'm really excited for Lush, but like, if that's a you thing, oh wow, you just got convinced. So if that works, you can jump on board like that. If you're interested, hopefully Peter Janet will send you my details afterwards, because you guys can contact me literally for anything. I do not mind one bit, and I'd love to be able to help you guys in any way in the future. But if you think your school might be interested in getting involved, like, we would love to see it. We've currently got 15 schools, which is amazing. So maybe your school might be part of that already. Who knows? But in case not, could be cool to just check. So that's the last thing I wanted to talk about really quickly, tips and tricks. Oof, I don't know if I have time, but 3 things, haha, figuring it out. I would say, in terms of tips and tricks, be passionate about whatever you're talking about. I know for me, I can be asked to do something and I'll most likely get it done. However, if there's that kind of level of motivation, or if I care about it, if I want to do something, if I like want to be able to support whatever I'm talking about, is that level of motivation you just don't see in other places, you know. Like, so care about what you're doing. You're going to have more fun doing it. You're going to be able to connect with more people doing it because they can see your own passion, and jump on like that. And the last thing, don't be afraid to be the first, you know. So if you've got this whole new idea for this whole new way to approach this issue, don't shy away from it. Of course, listen to past research, feedback, what have other people done, learn from that, but don't be afraid to like build your own path there. Okay, I'll back off. Anything else there?
Luce, that was amazing. Sorry, I'm writing things down. I always do this. I forget to tell the presenters that while they're presenting, I'm literally writing. So I wasn't being rude. I just was like, what? She's saying all these amazing lines that I want to use. And I didn't write down half of them. But that was amazing. Thank you so much. Like, what a story. And I know there's a few people sitting back going, how does she find the time? Even Nicola's like, how are you doing this? And I guess that's my first question before we dive into the questions we got in the chat box. How are you finding the time to do this with year 12?
That is a very good question. One, no sleep. No, I do sleep. No. So for me, it comes down to, I love it. Like, I honestly love what I do so much. So some people will be like, I want to spend all my free time doing this, and that's how they relax, that's how they rewind, that's what they enjoy doing. And for me, lucky enough, I really enjoy doing this. So I get a lot out of it, and I can enjoy the time that I do have, and I'll just put the time that I have into it.
I wish I'd done that instead of put my time into Melbourne Football Club. That would have been much better use of my time for anyone that follows football out there. But Luce, you're just so passionate, and you've got your fingers in so many different things. And I think, especially hearing about the Student Voice Network for our guys, especially, it's the next step. That's how I look at it. I look at it as sign up now, you know, Ocean Youth, and then after Ocean Youth is finished, this is where you can continue this journey. And I'm sure you probably have quite a few past Ocean Youths involved in Student Voice Network, because it's continuing this small community we've got on a larger scale. And I think it's amazing what you've been able to do.
Thank you. But yes,
we've got some questions, don't we?
Yeah, I could listen to you all day. You're fantastic. First question is from Mia. It's a few little questions, but they all relate to one. Were you ever stuck when coming up with an idea, and did you ever have doubts during making SVN?
Oh, Student Voice Network.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, so absolutely. I think one of the things for me, especially when I was like just starting, you know, getting more into activism, was like, I know there are so many issues, but what can I actually do? It was never a question of like, I wanted to do something. It's more about what's going to be effective. What am I going to actually like do here? But I think like over time, it's become a lot easier to come up with ideas, and it's become a lot easier to support others, because my role in SVN now is not only in building projects that work for me, like we're working with Climate Conference, or we've now got Green Mag, or working more in SVN, but it also comes down to like supporting others. But when it comes to building projects, the main thing is like, I always suggest building a list. I'm a list person, you know, so starting off like, choose your issue. What do you want to do? The next thing is, what kind of area in that? Do you want to target communication? Do you want to target awareness? Do you want to target political action? Really break it down into that, and then it becomes a lot more streamlined for the ways you can do it, because instead of being like, cool, I just need to tackle all of climate change, it turns down to, okay, I want to talk about climate change, I want to talk about climate change, and I want to increase, you know, student awareness of this issue. So the best way you're going to be student awareness is to talk about it in schools. How can I get schools involved? Well, I could possibly build a workshop that could be led at schools. I could run an Instagram campaign because I know it's going to be more effective with this target audience. I could make a poster. I could do that, because it becomes like, and as a school student yourself, you're probably going to be more aware of the ways that people try and ask you to do things at school. So what do you think is going to work like that? So just really build it down. Don't try and face the whole issue at once. There are like, this is a movement, not a moment. You know, you can so just take your own path there. I hope that helps. Ellen, second part of that was, do I ever have doubts? Yes. SVN has boomed this year. Lockdown, like you know, global pandemic is so horrible, and it's done some horrible things to this planet. However, this sounds really bad. It really helped SVN. We had this huge group of people who were just sitting at home being like, cool, what can I do? They started educating themselves on issues, and the more they knew, the more they wanted to act. So we've got a really cool team now. However, it used to be a lot smaller. Just maybe a couple people would turn up to a meeting, and I'd be like, is it worth it? You know, should I still be putting all this time into it if only a couple of people being impacted? I don't have the time to dedicate to it like I want to. but we stuck to it. We're always reviewing what we're doing. And I think that constant review process of, is this effective? Is it not effective? If it's not effective, what can we do to make it effective? And not just assuming you've got like this one model is going to suit you the entire time. And by getting other people's opinion, feedback and all of that, and it's not just you. I think a lot of people are worried about like, you know, influencing others, or like you have to make your own decision for you. And it's like, yes, that's a good idea. But other people are there for a reason. They've got new ideas, new perspectives, amazing points of view that are going to broaden your own. And like in the end, make your opinion better. In whatever way that is, whether that's changing your opinion or building to like cover a new base. So listen to others and then see if that's what, because in the end I knew that I wanted to make a difference and I thought this was going to be the best way that I could. So.
Amazing. Now, before we jump into, there's a couple of other questions there. In fact, I think you probably touched on Tessa's question. How do you get ideas and get them flowing? But something we should mention is Lucy is at Melbourne Girls, and they do have an amazing program led by an amazing teacher, especially with Andy Vance there. So it does help to have your school network on board very much, doesn't it, Lucy? If you can get your school following in your footsteps.
I honestly cannot say like I would be the person I am today without like the amazing teachers I have at my school. And I know that I've faced a lot less barriers in that regard when it comes to getting at my school, because for instance, with this climate conference, I do enviroscience as one of my VCE subjects. And then after the like class, I asked my teacher to stay back a second, and then they were like, okay, cool. And then I was like, can I run a conference?
Can I do this whole workshop? Yep, okay.
And they were like, yeah, I guess so. You know, and like just that streamlinedness. However, like, so that is honestly the biggest asset in terms of getting things done at school levels. And I think in SVN, we really push getting the idea of a teacher ally. So maybe your whole school, or maybe like, you know, there are going to be some hardships in terms of convince whatever level of, you know, leadership it is. But if you have one teacher that's on your side, that's willing to like put in a good word for you or make that kind of difference in the staff room, honestly, it can do such a world of good, and really get things flowing.
Definitely. Now we do have another question from Tess. She's wanting to ask about Be Happy Bags. She said, in terms of starting your bag business, because we have had, I should mention Lucy and Nicola, we've had quite a few business owners in recently. I think I told you guys from Two in the Sun and things, talking about how they started sustainable businesses that help to support either, you know, waste management or pollution, marine debris. So a few people are thinking on that level for their project, rather than going really big. What could I do that might, you know, help me, but I might be able to raise money for, you know, other areas as well. So in terms of starting your bag business, Luce, how did you get it started? Any advice for those trying to start an ocean supporting business? Was it difficult starting your bags?
I think it can be difficult in start, because it depends on whether you're going to do a product or a service. If it's need a bit of, you know, original investment. For me, I just, you know, been saving for a while, and I thought this could be a good way to do it and increase. But that's probably going to be a struggle, money to start it off. Another thing is trying to, like, I faced a lot of things as an someone under 18 wanting to run a business, because that can be your biggest asset in terms of getting, you know, outreach and media and people wanting to support you. Like, people hearing like, you're 15 and you have a business, cool, let's buy 20 bags. Like, that can be really good. But it can also be like, hey, can I do this, or can we work on a partnership, or can we do things like that? And they're like, you're a teenager, it can work both ways. But I think it comes down to, once again, if you're passionate about it, if you love your business, if you love what you want to do, it comes across and like it works. But just love what you do.
Yeah, exactly. I think, and you're not doing them now, but when you were doing them, you were really enjoying it. I think it was just about throwing your passion into something you could do right then and there. And then, you know, you found this other way to do it, and now you can support other people who might want to start something like that as a passion project.
Absolutely.
No, yeah, so I think go Luce, sorry.
Oh no. I think what happened was, that was like my pride and joy for so long. And then when it evolved into something where I was realizing, you know, this business isn't really needed anymore. Like, there are more bags, there are more things like that. And I realized that this was something I wanted. It was that, like, scary to change over and start something completely new. But in the end, if you think that's where your heart is, I'm so quick. then that's where you got to jump into it.
Exactly. And I think you've done so well to do that as well. Now, Tess also asked, with your Ocean Youth Project idea, when you did it, how did you come up with it? Do you have any suggestions for how to get those ideas going into your brain?
Yeah, so I think a little bit spoke about this a little bit before, but once again, choose your issue, then choose what way you want to target your issue. There are many lanes on the road to change. Oh my, all of the quotes. But you know, you're not going to be every way. Maybe you're really artsy and you want to target like a communication person art. Maybe you're more good at organizing and you want to organize people and organize movement. Like, focus on what you're good in, where your skills are, or where, if you're working in a partnership, I don't know how it's working this year, like where you guys love what's going to work best. Because if you're like, we want to do an art campaign, and you know, you love your stick figures, but you don't know if the world will, focus on what you're going to be able to do. I also don't know if I'm frozen. Can you guys still hear me?
We can hear you, but we can't see you moving. So don't do a dance because we'll miss it.
Damn it.
You're back.
Oh, good. No, but choose what you're interested in, where your skills are, and then build it down. Don't just try and tackle everything at once. Just really make it small steps, and don't, like, even to the extent of like when you're planning your projects and your project, don't just be like, you know, write, like, you know, send email. It has to, like, write it down as like, find contacts to send the email to, get someone to write the email, get someone to send the email, get someone to follow up on the email, get someone to follow up the email 2 weeks later to confirm their
That's our life.
It helps.
It is true though. I think you're right. Just breaking it down small. And I guess what I wanted to ask you before we chat to Nicola, Luce, is with your project, we've spoken about it a lot with these guys, and because we haven't seen them face to face, I figure it's probably sounding a little bit daunting to a few of you guys about the project this year. You're probably like, what is this? We've seen all these huge businesses. Now we've seen Lucy running an online network. Like, what do you expect of us? Were we expecting too much from you, Luce, with your projects, or was it a pretty cruisy process, like sort of doing a project at school where we just want to hear what ideas you have?
No, it was a wonderful cruisy process, in terms of, you can make it, like, from memory, as small as or big as whatever you felt comfortable with.
Perfect.
We had people who wanted to do something and they didn't know whether it was going to outlast Ocean Youth, or and they just wanted to kind of make this resource, see if it helped people, see if it didn't. I had people, you know, like, don't tell Peter and everyone that did their project end of, don't do that. But like, you know, there were, like, it really does going on. But then for me, I was working on my project, like, just because I wanted to, like, no pressure came from anywhere else. Like, months before it was like, and I was like, I'm gonna make a website, I'm gonna do a workshop. Like, it was just exciting. But it was honestly like no pressure, and like this amazing support system was gonna build you up. So
That's
don't be stressed.
I feel like Nicola was a little the same. We'll hear from her very soon. And you guys went in with an idea, and we had people that totally didn't, and that was fine too. They were just there for the ride and saw a gap in the market. And even just then, Caitlin even wrote in our group chat that perhaps maybe trying to get environmental science included in VCE at your school could be your project. If that's something you want to do in year 12, maybe to get that accessible to you is good enough. So before we let you go, I have one last question for you. Mm-hmm. What is your world going to look like after year 12? Are you going to extend Student Voice Network? How are you going to keep these contacts? What do you want it to look like next year?
That is a very good point. Well, the thing is, Student Voice Network is a high school. It's 12 to 25. So we do have university students within the network. It just happens to be that we don't have a huge university presence. So I'm hoping that, like, that or when I go there, ATAR pending. But so we can extend more to universities. I also, well, the thing is, I want to be a politician. Yay! So we'll see how that goes. But I also want SVN to be my job next year. So I'll be grant funding. I'll be looking to make this, because right now we're classified as community group because we're not making money per se. We're not like, I don't like, you know, because to become a not-for-profit organization, you need like a board, you need a chart, like a constitution, like it's a whole process. So next year, hopefully I might be able to dive into that, which could be cool. But even when Student Voice Network ends, like, I really love this idea of this just being a youth organization. So in the coming years, I want to set up a panel where it's not just like me running it forever. We'll set up elections, we'll do something else where it keeps that system, but I'm hoping it can get to a point where we have such a developed structure and system that we can just swap people in and out and it will work. But after that, making sure, like, because I want to do politics at university, you know, that's probably that kind of thing, but turning it into something that can then be accessible to everyone. So I've got an idea for what the next version of Student Voice Network might be when I'm not classified as youth anymore.
When you're old. No, not really. How amazing. You should get in touch with Ocean Impact Organisation. For those guys that popped in, we heard from Nick the other week. Nicola was there as well. And they've got their funding campaign right now. So a big pitch situation going on. So check them out because they're wanting to fund projects that are already going to get bigger. So kind of like a big version of Ocean Youth. Could be your next step, Lucy.
Could well be. I've written it down.
Amazing.
Okay, hope I helped.
So you definitely did, and I do want to say thanks, Luce. That's I'm inspired. I'm like, how did I get this person to this point? She inspires me every single day. So it was just amazing to have you on board for Ocean Youth. Can't believe it was 2016, so long ago, and now look at what you've been able to achieve. It's amazing. You're running your own version, a bigger, larger version of it, and we're so grateful that you came on board. So thanks, Luce.
So happy you're part of it. Thank you so much.
Well, we might give everyone